possible without the sacrifice of the teacher administration. I want to personally thank Kim Swartz, President of the York City Education. Associated with you in the organization. I really mean that. You make me proud. And it's a good object lesson for everybody to understand. You know, and all your teachers know, and the administrators know how important a full day of school is at that age. And literally how it can have a profound effect on the future prospects of a child. Again, another study. The National Center for Education Statistics found that children who participated in a full day of kindergarten made more gains in reading and math than those who participated in half gains. Not a surprise, but we have to cite it. And many studies show that children who receive high-quality early education from infancy to age 5 do better academically or more likely to graduate. That's why kids in homes that do not have, are not fully functional, come so disadvantaged. It's not because they're Hispanic or they're African American or they're Asian or they're poor white. It's because their vocabulary is about a third as big. It's because they're not being read to. It's not because of anything inherent in them. You know the studies, you teachers. Kids who come from middle class or upper class families show up at school with vocabularies considerably bigger than the kid who doesn't. And then we say, well, what do we have this education gap for? Look, these kids are the future of this school district and the future of this country. It sounds trite to say it, but we can't be shortchanging them now, especially when you're making the progress you're making, and then be surprised we have trouble down the road. It's not acceptable. We finally in this country are getting a consensus on what we need to do to educate our children. If our students suffer, our future is going to suffer. We can't let that happen. My wife has an expression: any country that out-educates us will out-compete us. You know, these are not someone else's children. They're our children. They're the kite strings that lift our national ambitions aloft. That's who they are. They talk like about they're somebody else's kids. They're our kids. And your school district motto, failure is not an option, is exactly what the president and I believe, and a lot of our Republican colleagues. Failure is not an option. I'm tremendously proud of what I've seen here, and I mean that sincerely. From the superintendent down to the grade school teacher. Proud of the entire community who has banded together to support their schools. When I asked where will we go to make this case, you were recommended to me by the Department of Education and by our own staff persons, not just because of the teachers, but because of the community, apparently. Ministers and priests and community activists, everybody's in the deal here. Everybody's in the deal, to use Hillary's expression, you know, that old African expression, it takes a village to raise a child. You seem to be a village that's actually pulling together. Truth is, no one can tell whether all these cuts, no one can tell what impact will have on these beautiful children. No one can say, and I'm not here saying I know we'll put them 2 months behind or 6 months behind or a year behind, but I do know one thing. These cuts will not have a positive impact on them. But we just don't know. But I certainly believe in the ability of these kids and teachers and administrators in this community, your ability to overcome these challenges, just a little bit of help. But one thing we do know as parents and as a nation, people, my friends say, how can we afford this? My answer is, how can we not afford to do this?